Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 1 hour, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi to share his thoughts in the 114th episode of his monthly radio program Mann Ki Baat at 11 a.m. IST. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar gives out a stern message to Pakistan at the UNGA, says its actions will certainly have consequences. Dr. S. Jaishankar also stresses on UN reforms, calls for urgent solution to Ukraine and Gaza conflict. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu calls killing of Hezbollah leader a historic turning point. Iran calls for emergency UN Security Council meeting. Heavy rains wreak havoc in Nepal, over 100 dead, 64 people missing in devastating floods and landslides. SpaceX launches mission to bring back 2 astronauts stranded on the International Space Station since June. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will share his thoughts with the people of the country and abroad in the Mann Ki Baat, his monthly radio program at 11 a.m. It will be the 114th episode of the program. It will also be the 4th episode after Prime Minister Modi assumed charge as the Prime Minister for the 3rd consecutive term. Also, the program will be broadcast on the entire network of Akashvani and Doordarshan. It will also be live streamed on the YouTube channels of AIR News, DD News, DD India, PMO and Information and Broadcasting Ministry. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, speaking at the 79th session of the UNGA on Saturday, took a jibe at Pakistan over the terrorism that it harbors, saying the country is making a conscious choice of being left behind in the global order due to its karma.
Many countries get left behind due to circumstances beyond their control. But some make conscious choices with disastrous consequences. A premier example is our neighbor, Pakistan. Unfortunately, their misdeeds affect others as well, especially the neighborhood. When this polity instills such fanaticism among its people, its GDP can only be measured in terms of radicalization and its exports in the form of terrorism. Today, we see the ills it sought to visit on others consume its own society. It can't blame the world. This is only karma. Madam President, a dysfunctional nation coveting the lands of others must be exposed and must be countered. We heard some bizarre assertions from it at this very forum yesterday. So let me make India's position perfectly clear. Pakistan's cross-border terrorism policy will never succeed, and it can have no expectation of impunity. On the contrary, actions will certainly have consequences.
In a powerful speech, Dr. S. Jaishankar said that the issue to be resolved between the two countries is only the vacation of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir by Islamabad and the abandonment of its long-standing attachment to terrorism.
The issue to be resolved between us is now only the vacation of illegally occupied Indian territory by Pakistan, and of course the abandonment of Pakistan's long-standing attachment to terrorism.
Amid the ongoing Ukraine and Gaza conflicts, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar at the UNGA cautioned that the world cannot be fatalistic about the continuation of violence on a large scale, asserting that the international community seeks urgent solutions and its sentiments must be acknowledged and acted upon.
be fatalistic about the continuation of violence on a large scale, no more than be impervious to its broader consequences. Whether it is the war in Ukraine or the conflict in Gaza, the international community seeks urgent solutions. These sentiments must be acknowledged and acted upon.
Strongly supporting the theme of the 79th UNGA, that is leaving no one behind, India's External Affairs Minister also highlighted the need for more representative United Nations and reforms in the multilateral system. He urged all the UN members to come together to change the world for better.
Let us therefore send out a clear message from this UNGA session. We are determined not to be left behind. By coming together, sharing experiences, pooling resources, and strengthening our resolve, we can change the world for the better.
On the sidelines of the 79th session of the UNGA, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar met with his Mexican counterpart, Alicia Bárcena. The minister also met Algeria's Foreign Minister Ahmed Attaf. Both the leaders committed on taking forward the long-standing partnership. They also discussed ways for advancing multilateral cooperation. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar also participated in the launch of Pan IIT Alumni Foundation in New York, where he discussed developing technology and manufacturing ecosystem in India. He also lauded the efforts and contribution of Indian diaspora in developing a Viksit Bharat. You're watching DD India News Hour. We're heading for a short break. But after the break, 2 terrorists killed and 4 security personnel sustained injuries in an encounter in South Kashmir's Kulgam district. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate developmental projects in Maharashtra via video conferencing. Kolkata's historic trams, symbolic of the city's heritage and charm, to be discontinued owing to traffic menace.
Welcome to Chandigarh.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News. Our Prime Minister Narendra Modi will lay the foundation stone, inaugurate and dedicate to the nation various projects in Maharashtra worth over 11,200 crore rupees on Sunday through video conferencing. Prime Minister will inaugurate the Pune Metro section of District Court to Swargate, which will also mark the completion of Pune Metro Rail Project Phase 1. Also, Prime Minister will lay the foundation stone of Swargate Katraj extension of Pune Metro Phase 1 to be developed at the cost of around 2,955 crore rupees. Prime Minister will also dedicate to the nation Bidkin Industrial Area, a transformative project covering an expansive 7,855 acres under the National Industrial Corridor Development Programme of Government of India. Prime Minister will also inaugurate the Solapur Airport, which would significantly improve connectivity, making Solapur more accessible to tourists, business travellers and investors. Prime Minister will also lay the foundation stone for memorial of Kranti Jyoti Savitribai Phule's first girls' school at Bhidwar. Addressing the second edition of the UP International Trade Show, India's Minister of Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal said that Prime Minister Narendra Modi's efforts in developing Uttar Pradesh will help India become a $5 trillion economy in the first phase and will serve as a cornerstone for India to become a $35 trillion economy.
प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में देश मुख्यमंत्री श्री योगी आदित्यनाथ जी के नेतृत्व में उत्तर प्रदेश दोनों मिलके एक डबल इंजन के रूप में देश को पहले चरण में तो 5 ट्रिलियन लेकिन आगे चल के $35 ट्रिलियन की इकोनॉमी बना के एक विकसित भारत, एक समृद्ध भारत की तरफ तेजी से लेके जाएंगे.
The second edition of the UP International Trade Show is being held from September 25th till today at the India Expo Mart in Greater Noida. The laser show and Khadi fashion show were the main highlights of the third day, while the cultural evening performances added to the event's vibrancy. With Saturday and Sunday being holidays, many are anticipated to take advantage of the break to visit the International Trade Fair and explore their favorite products. All right, let's change track to other news now. In Jammu and Kashmir, 2 terrorists were killed in South Kashmir's Kulgam district and 4 security personnel, including an officer, sustained injuries in an encounter on Saturday. Policemen and army personnel had launched a joint operation in Adigam village in Devsar, Kulgam in the morning hours after they got information about presence of militants in the village. As the security forces were placing cordon around the village, militants opened fire in which 4 army and policemen were injured. Later, 2 militants who were hiding in the house were killed during an operation. In another ongoing encounter in Kathua district of Jammu and Kashmir, 1 police personnel attained martyrdom while 2 other officers sustained injuries. The encounter broke after a joint search party of the Jammu and Kashmir Police and Army launched a cordon and search operation based on specific inputs about the presence of terrorists in a house in the forested area. As the search party approached the hiding terrorists, who are believed to be 2 and 3 in number, they reportedly opened fire on the security forces, resulting in an encounter. All right, our correspondent Tahir is joining us from Doordarshan, Jammu and Kashmir. Tahir, get us more on the ongoing encounter. Is it still in progress?
Well, Preeti, the encounter which started at 5:30 p.m. in Kogmondli village of Bilawar subdivision of Kathua district that is still going on. As the last reports came in yesterday, 3 security personnel were killed, injured, and one of them succumbed to their injuries. His name is Bashir Ahmad, and is head constable of Jammu and Kashmir Police. The firing which ensued at 5:30 p.m. yesterday continued till 10 p.m. last night, and after that guns fall silent. But in the wee hours today, the firing has again started, and it is going on intermittently. Those security forces have been called from the nearby post, and at present the whole area has been cordoned off. It is pertinent to mention here that this Kutwa district, along with other 7 districts of Jammu and Kashmir, are going to polls in the last phase on 1st of October. So it is very important, because the way in first and penultimate phases of the 3-phase election went on, and the way the people came out of their houses, and it was like unprecedented, the way they voted, the way they participated in the election process. Perhaps that thing has not gone well with the anti-social elements and their mentors across the border. That is why it seems that is why they are trying to disrupt this final phase. That is why this activity has been carried out in this Kutwa district. But I don't think the mood of the people, they can deter that mood who are going to participate in the election. And it seems that earlier we have observed that in the militancy infested, terrorism infested areas of Rajouri, Poonch, and those polling stations along the border, their enthusiasm was much higher than the peaceful areas, and they voted in large number, which has never ever seen before. And right now, the whole area has been cordoned off. This is a very tough terrain, and the topography of this area is very tough. It is dense forest is all along the way. Natural caves are there. So it's a little difficult to track down the terrorists hiding in those areas. But still, security forces are confident, and they don't want them to disrupt the final phase of the election.
All right. Also, Tahir, we tell our viewers that the militants, the terrorists, are in 2 or 3 number. Confirm this for us. Get us more on what is the take of the security forces.
Well, Priti, Rising Star, this 9 corps of army, they have come up with a statement there, and in their statement they have said there may be 2 or 3 numbers because of the exchange of fire. It is evident from the exchange of fire they are not more than 3 and not less than 2. So they are still hiding in the area, and as I said, there are thick bushes, thick forest, natural caves, and it is away from the inhabited area. So by that way, it is a little. They are finding it little difficult to track them down. But still, they are confident. The way the area has been cordoned off, additional security forces have been called from the nearby post. So it seems that they won't let them come out that cordon and disrupt the election process. And obviously, they are not more than 3 in number.
All right, we'll leave it here. Tahir, thank you for joining in with those details. And still with the Jammu and Kashmir, campaigning for the 3rd and last phase of assembly elections in the Union Territory will end on Sunday, with political parties making the last-ditch effort to win the voters of 11 assembly constituencies of District Jammu that are set for polls, with over 12 lakh voters going to exercise their franchise on 1st of October. Polling for the first 2 phases was held on September 18th and 26th respectively. Counting of votes will take place on 8th of October. All right, our correspondent Dibendra Mondal joins us from Srinagar, Jammu and Kashmir. Dibendra, good morning. The 3rd phase, the final phase of polling will be held on October 1st. Get us more as to what is it that makes this last phase different from the previous 2 phases. What is the highlight of the constituencies that are going to the polls this time around? What sets this phase, different from the last 2 phases?
Well, good morning, Preeti. That's right. The last phase of election in a 3-phase election which is underway in Jammu and Kashmir, is going to conclude on the 1st of October. In this particular phase, almost all the district of Jammu is going to polls And also, there are certain districts from the North Kashmir region which is going to polls in this particular last phase of election in this assembly elections of Jammu and Kashmir. So what perhaps makes this phase very different from the previous phases, of course, that the Jammu region is going to polls where the BJP has been very confident of winning the maximum number of seats and increasing its tally from the 2014 tally that the BJP got in that region. Yesterday, we saw Prime Minister Narendra Modi campaigning in Jammu for the BJP. Today, we also see Rajnath Singh will be campaigning for the BJP in the Gurez Valley region of Jammu and Kashmir. So, we have seen plenty of leaders from Delhi, the top senior leaders of the BJP coming into Jammu and Kashmir and campaigning for this election. We are seeing the last push being given by all political parties here in the Jammu Kashmir region for for garnering the votes of the voters or the electorates here in Jammu and Kashmir. But also, the tone for the elections have been set, which is, of course, keeping in mind the development of the region after the abrogation of Article 370, which resonates, pretty much high with all the youths of Kashmir region that have been long wanting for development in this region. And that, of course, will be a key factor when people go out to vote in this last phase of elections. Of course, political parties giving their last push, ensuring that their promises, their manifesto, what they had promised, goes to the last voter who would be coming out to cast their vote on the 1st of October. Preeti.
All right, Dibyendu, now you're telling us about the, the issues that are on the minds of the voters when they come out to vote on the 1st of October. But you must have interacted with the voters, how do you judge the nerve of the people there? What is it that they are looking forward to? Because, general elections are different from state elections. The issues in state elections and general elections are different. So, when we talk of elections being held for the first time after abrogation of Article 370 in Jammu and Kashmir, how important is it, and what is it that people are exactly looking for when they come out to vote?
Well, Preeti, there is a simple answer to this. To as many people have been speaking here since I have come. Two very pertinent issues, that is development and employment. These are two of the major issues that people of Jammu and Kashmir have been talking about. The infrastructure development that happened after the abrogation of Article 370 is visible on the streets of this particular region. But apart from that, what the youths perhaps want from this election, or perhaps from the new government, is employment opportunities, investment coming into this region, which they have been long wanting for many years. So of course, they're looking forward to a new start, a fresh start in terms of getting their life back on track, getting their dues which were due for a very long time, and now they feel that they can assimilate into the mainstream by investment coming in here, by companies, industries setting up their bases in Jammu and Kashmir region, and they are looking forward to it for having a very robust policy by the new government that comes into power, which will attract investment and in turn generate employment. This is what the youth of Kashmir region are particularly talking about. And also, Preeti, there have been concerns about safety, and there's nothing to hide of the fact of militancy that existed in this particular region of Jammu and Kashmir, which has significantly reduced, improving the lives of the people. The people have been talking about they do not want militancy anymore. What they want is normal life. What they want is normalcy in their life, where they can go about their life every day, living like a normal citizen, having to go do their work, go back home, spend time with their families. This is what the people and the youths of Kashmir want, and this perhaps would only be possible when the new government comes into place and sets up robust policies for employment generation as well as for investments. Of course, as I said, these are some of the key issues that people of Jammu and Kashmir have been mulling over during this entire election period. And of course, the long due election after the abrogation of Article 370 is being taken by the people of Jammu and Kashmir in a very healthy and a very happy manner, in which they are perhaps elated to the fact that they will be able to cast their vote on the 1st of October.
All right, Dibyendu, we leave it here. Thank you so much for joining in with those details. All right, Haryana is also gearing up for its Legislative Assembly elections with few days left for the polls. Campaigning is at its peak with political parties gearing up to woo the voters in their favour. The polling will take place on October 5th to elect 90 members of the Haryana Legislative Assembly. The results of the elections will be declared on 8th of October. The current Haryana Legislative Assembly will end its tenure on November 3rd, 2024. The last elections, which were held in October 2019, resulted in a state government being formed by the coalition of BJP and Jananayak Janata Party with Manohar Lal Khattar as the Chief Minister. Chief Election Commissioner of India Rajiv Kumar said on Saturday that elections in Maharashtra have to be conducted before November 26th as the current Assembly's term ends then. Speaking at a press conference in Mumbai after reviewing the state's poll preparedness, the CEC mentioned that political parties have requested the announcement of poll dates, keeping in mind festivals like Diwali. A quick look at other stories making into the headlines from across India. In an unfortunate road accident in the central state of Madhya Pradesh, at least 9 people were killed and 23 were injured in a collision between a bus and a truck. According to the officials, the bus was en route to Nagpur from Prayagraj when it collided with a parked stone-laden dumper truck on Saturday. Eastern state of West Bengal's government has decided to discontinue Kolkata's historic trams introduced in 1873, a symbol of the city's heritage and charm. The 150-year-old tram service, which is considered a lifeline for the people of Kolkata, was introduced by the Britishers. Tram services in Kolkata are being terminated due to traffic issues, except for one route from Esplanade to Maidan. The junior doctors in West Bengal who held cease work protest for 41 days over the brutal rape and murder of a junior doctor at Kolkata's RG Kar hospital last month are threatening to resume their strike. The protesting doctors said that they will resume their agitation after a hearing of the case in the Supreme Court on Monday. A duo from South Indian state of Karnataka has transformed trash to treasure as they changed a vacant plot into a vibrant butterfly haven. As per the duo, they started planting saplings of various flowers and fruits, which turned the plot into a colourful garden, which is now home to equally colourful and beautiful butterflies. You're watching DD India News Hour. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, Austrians to vote in a closely contested parliamentary election with economy and immigration as key concerns. Hurricane Helene ravages Florida, gradually weakens, leaving a path of rare devastation. 48 migrants missing as their boat capsizes near the Spanish island of El Hierro.
India's chess masters have created history.
Something very historical, and I think and I really hope this means a lot to many people.
This is definitely a huge moment, not just for me, not just for the team, but the entire Indian chess.
We have been trying to win a gold medal in Olympiad for a long time, and we have finally achieved it.
I believed the boom in chess will happen, and I believed all this would happen, but I just didn't know how. I just kept doing what I do.
At one point, I was thinking within myself, oh, am I really speaking to the Prime Minister? Is he really next to me? It was such a humbling experience.
Is India the future? And I think we can say the future is now. We are world champions.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. A quick relook at the top stories now. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi to share his thoughts in the 114th episode of his radio program Mann Ki Baat on Sunday at 11 a.m. IST. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar gives out a stern message to Pakistan at the UNGA, says its actions will certainly have consequences. Dr. S. Jaishankar also stresses on UN reforms, calls for urgent solution to Ukraine and Gaza conflict. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu calls killing of Hezbollah leader a historic turning point. Iran calls for emergency UN Security Council meeting. SpaceX launches mission to bring back 2 astronauts stranded on the International Space Station since June. All right, let's get to other stories now. Hezbollah chief Saeed Hassan Nasrallah has been eliminated in an Israeli military strike in Beirut on Friday. The Israeli army released a video on Saturday showing the command center during the operation, featuring top officials discussing the mission. Alongside Nasrallah, other prominent Hezbollah leaders, including Fuad Shukr and Ali Karaki, were also confirmed killed. Nasrallah's death marks a significant setback for Hezbollah and its allies. Rabindra Chauhan gets us more.
Hezbollah chief Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah is dead. Israeli military said that they have killed Nasrallah on Friday's strike in Beirut.
Hassan Nasrallah, the leader of the terrorist army Hezbollah, was killed by Israel Defense Forces in a precise strike in Beirut last night while he was in Hezbollah's central headquarters commanding more imminent attacks against the people of Israel.
This is the video released by the Israeli army on Saturday, showing the command center on the night of the operation against Nasrallah, accompanied by a statement in English stating that Nasrallah had been killed on Friday. The footage featured top officials, including Defense Minister Yoav Gallant and Chief of Staff Herzi Halabi, sitting and discussing the operation. IDF also released video which shows F-151 fighter jets before and after they carried out the airstrike. Hezbollah's Nasrallah is not the only leader who was killed in the operation. The Israeli army said other leading figures from the group have also been eliminated. Among those killed were Hezbollah's top commander Fuad Shukr, who died in an Israeli strike on the southern suburbs of Beirut on July 30th, and another leader, Ali Karaki, who Israel stated was killed alongside Nasrallah on Friday. Nasrallah's death marks a major blow not only to Hezbollah but also its backers. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, called on Muslims to stand by the people of Lebanon and Hezbollah with whatever means they have and assist them. Yemen's Houthis and Hamas said they mourned Hezbollah leader. Israelis, however, expressed relief after learning of Hezbollah leader's death. Rabindra Chauhan's report for DD India.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called the killing of Hezbollah chief Hassan Nasrallah a historical turning point that could change the balance of power in West Asia. He, however, warned of challenging days ahead. The Israeli military on Saturday said that it had eliminated Nasrallah in the strike on Hezbollah's Central Command headquarters in Beirut. Nasrallah's death is a major blow to both Hezbollah and its backer, Iran.
The state of Israel eliminated the arch-murderer Hassan Nasrallah. He and his people were the architects of the plan to destroy Israel. He was not only operated by Iran, he also frequently operated Iran. The elimination of Nasrallah is a necessary condition in achieving the objectives we have set, returning the residents of North safely to their homes and changing the balance of power in the region for years.
Reacting to Israel's killing of Nasrallah, US President Joe Biden said that a measure of justice for the Hezbollah chief's many victims. He added that Washington fully supported Israel's right to defend itself against Iran-backed groups. In a statement released by the White House, Biden said that Nasrallah and the terror group he led were responsible for killing hundreds of Americans over a 4-decade reign of terror. When asked by a reporter whether an Israeli ground invasion of Lebanon was inevitable, Biden said it was time for a ceasefire.
President, is a ground incursion into Lebanon inevitable? Time for a ceasefire.
A day after Israel eliminated Hezbollah chief Hassan Nasrallah, Iran has called for United Nations Security Council meet over Israel's actions in Lebanon and across West Asia. The country strongly warned against any attack on its diplomatic premises and representative in a letter written by its ambassador to the UN. The letter added that Iran will not hesitate to exercise its rights under international law to take every measure in defense of its national and security interests. Now, this comes as reports say that Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei has been moved to a safe location. Amit Mukherjee, our correspondent, is joining us from New Delhi. Amit, help us understand. Iran calling for a United Nations Security Council meet over Israel's actions in Lebanon. What consequences could it have? What can transpire? How significant could this session be?
Well, Preeti, one thing is very, very clear that the Israeli actions are full of surprises, which we witnessed on Friday. It was absolutely unprecedented. At one point in time, Benjamin Netanyahu was making a speech in the UN General Assembly against the ongoing assault on its territory by Hezbollah and Hamas people. And the next moment, it was raining terror in Beirut, at the headquarters of Hezbollah, where, of course, Nasrallah was eliminated. Now, the question is, it has sent messages across. This particular action has been sending messages across to everybody which have been supporting Hezbollah at some point in time. Now, Iran is quite rattled as well, which is why in the letter to the UN General Assembly seeking a meeting at the UN Security Council, it has outlined that Israel must respect the diplomatic missions, diplomatic premises at different locations across the world, and it should also kind of restrain from any action on its territory. Of course, they have been threatening that, of course, there would be retaliation in case Israel launches any assault or any action against Iran. But that is a fact. It has been saying about any action in Lebanon as well. But notwithstanding that, Israel went ahead with its assault plans. And it was the first of its kind. In fact, it was pretty unprecedented. And Nasrallah, who has been the head of the founder of Hezbollah, and he has been the head of the organization ever since the inception of Hezbollah since 1992. It was absolutely shocking for all those Hezbollah as well as all those who have been supporting Hezbollah's action against Israel. Now, again, if you look at it, ever since this Hamas episode where the Hamas squad abducted people from the Israeli territory on October 7th, Hezbollah has constantly been raining every now and then missiles on the northern territory of Israel. But since September 17th, it seems that everything has turned, and Israel went all out first with the pager assault, which was kind of detonated, and that also eliminated quite a number of Hezbollah operatives, and then the constant air raids, and of course the peak of it was the assassination of Nasrallah at the headquarters of Hezbollah on Friday night. Even then, Israel is still continuing because it expects retaliation from Hezbollah, which is why it continued with its assault on Saturday as well. Preeti?
All right, Amit, even as we speak, we are getting the fresh visuals from Beirut, which we are showing to our viewers also. All right, Amit, also help us understand how significant is Hezbollah a force in the region? Having said that, now that Nasrallah has been eliminated, his subordinates have also been, a number of his subordinates have also eliminated as claimed by Israel. So where does that leave Hezbollah, and also what next for Hezbollah from here on?
Well, Preeti, it's very, very clear right now that the head of the organization has been eliminated, and several commanders of the second rank has also been eliminated. Now, Hezbollah has been talking about the fact that, it is not an organization which is dependent on just one person. In this case, it is definitely referring to Nasrallah, but they never anticipated that the end of Nasrallah would come so quickly. But even then, it has been maintaining the fact that it's not dependent on one particular person. Having said that, there's a difference between rhetorics, there's a difference between statements and reality. As of now, Hezbollah is completely headless. They are looking at successors. Hassim Safedia and Naeem Qasim's name is coming up. But again, at this point in time, more than retaliation, it is the question of survival of Hezbollah right now. They need to organize, because ever since the aggression started on September 17th, where we saw air raids, damaging of telecommunication network of which Hezbollah was dependent, the telecommunication network in Lebanon. Things have gone in a complete disarray as far as the Hezbollah structure is concerned. So they are definitely looking at survival at this point in time more than successor, because at this point in time, they need to kind of put things together rather than continuing on with the retaliation, because, you know, there's an element of surprise in the actions of Israeli forces every now and then, and one never knows what's next. Although people have been talking about ceasefire and all, we saw what came on Friday night. It was a complete, it was one of the worst assault that Hezbollah has ever witnessed since its inception since 1992. Preeti?
All right. Amit, also evaluate for us the tensions in the region from here on. You know, to what extent will this escalate the already tense situation in the region, one? And secondly, how is Israel poised at this point in time? On one hand, you know, it claims to have made significant advances, you know, in Gaza. Also, at the same time, it shook Hezbollah. Put all this together, how is Israel placed, given the fact that US is still supportive of Israel for, you know, for coming out in its defense?
Absolutely. You know, as far as Israel is concerned, if you look at the statement which was made in the past week, it was very, very clear that the Israeli Defense Forces had put in the fact that the time for half-baked measures are over and they're going to go all out. And it's quite evident in their actions in the last, over the last 1 week. Apart from raining terror from the skies against Hezbollah, it has also been firming up several actions, in fact, which also they have also mobilized 2 brigades in case ground incursion is required, in case they are going into the Lebanese territory. And this is not the first time. It has, in fact, Lebanon has been under the control of you know, Israel during 2000 also. There was again sort of a conflict during which Israeli forces were very, very active in the Lebanese territory. And this time also, Israel is making it very, very clear that in case his citizens are put in under any kind of a stress, of course, there has been a lot of stress in the northern part of Israel because at least 60,000 people had to be evacuated because of Hezbollah's missile firing in that particular region. So I think Israel at this point of time, of course, it's all speculation, but Israel as of now is ready with to face all kinds of eventualities, and it's ready with all its plan, all its alternate plans. And again, there would be an element of surprise. I mean, half of the plans which Israel is executing right now, nobody knows about it. Even as far as the US is concerned, it's at the last moment that those plans are disclosed to the US. It's just to keep the ally in confidence. But even US administration is not aware of all the actions that are happening on ground as it seems now.
All right, Amit, we leave it here. Thank you so much for joining in with those details and that explanation. All right, Austria in fact, heads to the polls on Sunday in a closely contested parliamentary election with the far-right Freedom Party, that is FPO, aiming for its first general election win against the ruling conservative Austrian People's Party, that is OVP. Also, economic concerns and immigration have dominated the race, with Chancellor Karl Nehammer framing FPO leader Herbert Kiel as a divisive figure. While polls show neither party will win an outright majority, the victor will have the mandate to lead the coalition. The FPO's Eurosceptic, anti-immigration stance and Russia-friendly policies have drawn criticism, including from President Alexander Van der Bellen, who has hinted he may block Kiel from forming a government. Handling of recent severe flooding has boosted his image as a statesman, narrowing the race. The death toll from the passage of powerful Hurricane Helene reached at least 53 on Saturday. Rescuers, hampered by washed-out bridges and debris-strewn roads, continue search for survivors in devastated regions of the several eastern U.S. states. At least 22 people died in South Carolina, 17 in Georgia, 11 in Florida, 2 in North Carolina and 1 in Virginia, as per reports from the local authorities. Rain fury continues to wreak havoc in Nepal. Floods and landslides triggered by heavy downpour in the Himalayan nation have killed at least 102 people. Rescue teams continue to search for 64 missing people. Parts of Nepal have been inundated due to rainfall since Friday. Authorities have released warnings of flash floods in multiple rivers. Cars and houses near the banks of rivers in capital Kathmandu were inundated as rivers swelled up with heavy rain. Over 3,000 security personnel have been deployed to assist rescue efforts with helicopters and motorboats. Landslides have blocked several highways, leaving hundreds of travelers stranded. Nepal's acting Prime Minister has directed mobilization of all government machinery in disaster response to record-breaking rain. Officiating Prime Minister Mann has called for an all-party meeting to discuss the disaster situation, including the damage to life and property by rain-induced floods and landslides across the country. According to the PMO, all government machinery has been fully mobilized to serve the people affected by the disaster. SpaceX launched a rescue mission on Saturday to retrieve two astronauts, Butch Wilmore and Sunita Williams, who have been stuck at the International Space Station since June after safety concerns grounded their Boeing spacecraft. The mission involves a downsized SpaceX crew sent to bring them home, although their return isn't expected until early next year. The Falcon 9 rocket took off from Cape Canaveral, Florida. It used a new launch pad, the pad's first use for a crewed mission. The astronauts were supposed to be there for only an 8-day stay, but after problems with the Starliner's propulsion system emerged during the flight there, NASA was forced to weigh a radical change in the plans. Spanish Coast Guards scoured the sea on Saturday, searching for 48 migrants missing at sea after their boat capsized near the Spanish island of El Hierro, killing at least 9 people. The emergency services were able to rescue 27 out of 84 migrants who were trying to reach the Spanish coast, they added. Spanish authorities said the migrants were from Mali, Mauritania and Senegal. Calm seas and gentle winds associated with the late summer in the Atlantic Ocean of Western Africa has prompted a renewed surge of migrants. The Indian government on Saturday lifted the ban on non-basmati white rice exports and imposed a minimum export price of $490 per ton on it, exempting the commodity from export duty. The move comes a day after the government cut the export tax on white rice to zero. Bigger rice shipments from India would beef up overall global supplies and soften international prices by forcing other major exporters of the staple such as Pakistan, Thailand and Vietnam to reduce their rates. All right, let's talk of sports now. You're watching DD India News Hour and we'll talk of cricket. The third day of India's second test match against Bangladesh in India's Kanpur still could not start due to wet outfield since morning on Sunday. On the second day, on Saturday too, the match was a non-starter without a ball being bowled following intermittent rain. Rain and a wet outfield had allowed only 35 overs of play on Friday, and the start of the second day's play was also delayed by inclement weather. The intermittent rainfall kept the covers on and the umpires decided to call off play with Bangladesh. The visitors, bidding for a series levelling victory, were 107 for 3 in their first innings. India, who won the opening test, need a draw to register their record, extending 18th consecutive test series victory on home soil. All right, Narayan Singh is joining us from New Delhi. Narayan, good morning. What will be the impact on the match as 2 days have already been lost and the third day also seems uncertain?
Good morning, Priti. As you mentioned, that the persistent rainfall didn't allow the match to go further, considering the fact that on day one only the 35 overs were completed and day two was also a complete washout. And day three, the next inspection will take place at 12 o'clock. All in all, we can say that for India's perspective, it is not good, considering the fact that the match comes under the World Test Championship cycle, and already India has lost a match to rain against West Indies. And if India, this match too, we can say that most probably will end in a draw, because on day three also one session is over, and in that scenario, it doesn't look like that the match will be a complete match, as it will end in a draw. And we know that it's very important, considering the fact that right now India is at the top of the World Test Championship cycle, and if this match ends in a draw, then India will get only 4 points. and Bangladesh will also get 4 points. And after that, India's 8 matches are left, 3 against New Zealand at home, and 5 matches in the Border Gavaskar Trophy against Australia that India will play in Australia. In that scenario, if this match ends in a draw, India need to win 5 matches to be there in the final of the World Test Championship. And Australia's remaining matches are against Sri Lanka, the 2-match series that Australia will come to Sri Lanka. And we know that what kind of cricket Sri Lanka is playing right now under Sanay Jayasuriya. They already defeated England in England, and definitely they are going to give a tough contest to Australia in Australia. And after that, Sri Lanka will go to South Africa. So in all likelihood, it's going to be a tough ride for the Indian team if you talk about the World Test Championship cycle here.
All right, Narayan, we leave it here. Thank you for joining in with those details. And India have named their 15-member squad for the 3-match T20 International Series against Bangladesh. Suryakumar Yadav is set to lead a young squad with uncapped players like pacers Mayank Yadav, Harshit Rana and all-rounder Nitish Kumar Reddy. Wicketkeeper Jitesh makes a return with Sanju Samson as another opening keeping option, in fact. In the spin department, Ravi Bishnoi, Washington Sundar and Varun Chakravarti make a return to the squad. Other noteworthy inclusions are Riyan Parag and Abhishek Sharma, who add firepower to the batting lineup and also provide an option for part-time spin bowling. The series is set to start from October 6th, with the first match taking place in Gwalior. The IPL Governing Council has announced the IPL player regulations for 2025-27 cycle after a meeting in Bengaluru. The franchises can now retain up to 6 players through retention or right to match, that is RTM, with maximum 5 capped and 2 uncapped players. The auction purse is set at 120 crore rupees or $1,200 million, with the introduction of rupees 7,500,000 match fee per match for all the players, including impact player. Also, overseas players must register for big auction or will be deemed ineligible for next year's auction, and players who opt out after being selected will face a 2-season ban. Lastly, a capped Indian player will become uncapped if the player in the last 5 calendar years has not played in the starting 11 in international cricket or does not have a central contract with BCCI. The impact player regulation is also set to continue through the 2025-27 cycle. The International Federation of Association of Football has announced the name of host cities and stadiums for the FIFA Club World Cup 2025. The expanded club competition will be hosted in the United States and will run from June 15th to July 13th next year. The final will be hosted at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. Other noteworthy venues set to host the event include Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, Rose Bowl Stadium in Los Angeles, and Lumen Field in Seattle. The tournament will mark the first time the club will feature 32 teams, showcasing a new format for the competition. That's it in this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. Now, this app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the respective QR code on your screens. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us at In Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.